We're about ready to go ahead and get started here. Hello and welcome to today's CHES exam information session. I'm Jessica Wessner. I'm a staff member with the National Commission for Health Education Credentialing. We're also known as NCHEC for short. So this afternoon, we'll be talking a little bit about our CHES certification, which is a national credential that we offer specifically for health education specialists. Before we begin, I just want to go over some simple housekeeping to ensure we maximize our time together today. So at the end of today's presentation, we'll have time for a live Q&A where your questions will be answered. But feel free to start posting your questions into the Q&A box whenever you think of them. Before we dive in, a brief introduction to our other presenter today, who's Tanya Cole. Tanya is our CHES exam coordinator, and she reviews all CHES prescreens and applications for eligibility. She will be doing a lot of the presenting today and talking about the exam and what's involved, and also will be handling the Q&A at the end. NCHEC's mission, we're a nonprofit organization, and our mission is to enhance the professional practice of health education by promoting and sustaining a credentialed body of health education specialists. So how we do this is through developing and administering a national competency-based examination. We develop standards for academic professional preparation, so the coursework that you receive in your undergrad or grad courses. And we also promote ongoing professional development through continuing education. So for those who obtain our credential, we're really focused on continued learning throughout your career arc. The CHES certification has been around for over 30 years of history, and it is validated by periodic national job analysis studies. So these are done to make sure that the exam base reflects exactly what health education professionals are doing in all sorts of job settings and roles across the country. So these studies are an important part of keeping this credential valid and up to date. We're also nationally and internationally accredited. These accreditations are something that become really crucial in making sure we're doing a good job, fair and reliable job kind of across the board. So what exactly is a CHES? What does this mean? It is an individual that has met academic eligibility. So you've completed very specific specialist coursework, emphasizing the 8 areas of responsibility for health education specialists. And your academic transcript will go through an evaluation process for this. So next, you've passed a rigorous competency-based examination. Then you maintain and add to your knowledge base through continuing education. And you also have an ongoing commitment to this continued learning I was speaking about throughout your career, which is important to your employer and the public, that you're staying up to date on current practices. Another term you'll hear a lot about is eligibility. So if you're considering this credential, eligibility for the CHES exam is based exclusively on academic qualifications. So an individual must have a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate degree from an accredited institution, and either one of the following: a transcript that shows a major concentration in health education, public health education, community health education, or school health education. Or if your major doesn't quite say that, for instance, say it's health sciences, but you have a minimum of 25 semester hours of earned coursework specifically addressing those 8 areas of responsibility. Those areas are the foundations of what's going to be on the exam. You may have heard the term NCHES as well. So NCHES is a different certification. It's an advanced level practitioner that has also met academic qualifications and has worked in the field for a minimum of 5 years. Also passed a competency-based examination, which is a bit different from the CHES. Also satisfies the continuing education requirement as well. Just note that you do not need to be CHES before coming NCHES, but you certainly can be. Above all, we think of CHES certification kind of as quality assurance, right? It establishes a national standard of practice for all health education specialists. It attests to an individual's knowledge and skill level. So you've demonstrated competency by passing this rigorous exam. It also assists employers in identifying qualified health education practitioners. So you've passed a tough national and voluntary exam. We see that it develops a sense of pride and accomplishment among certified health education specialists. And it also promotes continued professional development. So that's a requirement, even if you're really busy, you start a family, career transitions, you're still required to maintain that continuing education. So that kind of keeps you on task. So at this point, I'm going to turn over our presentation to our exam coordinator, Tanya, and she will walk you through eligibility, applications, test day, and everything that entails. So Tanya, turn it over to you.
You. So the CHES exam is currently offered twice a year, once in April, once in October, and it's open over a 10-day window with many different testing times and locations available. We offer the exam at a physical testing site or at online testing. Rescheduling options are also available, which are outlined in the exam handbook, which is available on our website at ncheck.org. Let me just silence my phone. So one thing to understand is that every official transcript submitted with an application or pre-screen is reviewed on an individual and case-by-case basis. Course titles can vary widely from university to university, as does the course content. So if the exam coordinator who reviews your transcript is uncertain about the content of a course that you have taken, she may ask you to provide some additional course descriptions or syllabi. And a tip for during the application process that is if you print out your course descriptions before applying, it's an excellent way to provide with more clarity on what your courses are and what could be accepted. And then you could just like include those, with your online application. So the first step is going to be to submit your application or your pre-screen application. And all of this can be done online through the NCHEC portal once you have created your initial online account. The official transcript submitted with the application then are then reviewed, and if needed, additional documentation is requested. And official transcripts are required. So once the 25 or more credits that align with the 8 areas are identified, the candidate is contacted with the next steps to complete the exam registration. So if an applicant is found ineligible, information on how to obtain those additional credits are provided. Applicants are then moved to the candidate stage to begin preparation to sit for the exam. And then your exam appointment can be scheduled right within your online portal. So occasionally applicants are unclear about whether their credential meets the eligibility requirements. Your degree may not specifically read health education, but you have accumulated sufficient enough hours of coursework. So NCHEC offers a pre-screening service for prospective applicants to determine eligibility before applying for the CHES exam. Official transcripts are reviewed to determine eligibility. Notification through email of the pre-screen outcome will then be provided. If ineligible, your course deficiencies will be identified and guidance for qualifications will be provided. There's a $25 non-refundable fee for the service. However, if you are found eligible, that $25 is applied directly towards the full application fee for the full registration. And then the pre-screen service right now is currently closed, but will open May 1st for the October 2025 exam. And it's open for the first 3 months. So May, June, and July is when the pre-screen service will be open. So your pre-screen is often used in place of like your regular full application if you are in any way unsure of your coursework eligibility. In fact, there are benefits to using the pre-screen service that maybe you're not aware of. You will not need to resubmit an additional application if you are eligible. You would simply log back into your account that you created with your pre-screen application, and you're verifying some information and completing the payment. And then you will then receive the link in the email to select your testing site or LRP. So pre-screen applications normally receive priority during the review process, so your results will be received hopefully within about 2 weeks. Traditional applications may take longer. If you're not currently eligible, you will learn exactly how many credits you're missing, as well as sample course titles to help you select additional classes that you can pick up those online if you would like. So again, the cost is $25 and it will be subtracted off the full application fee if you are found eligible, so you won't be paying any additional fees. And the date of your pre-screen application is going to be considered your original application date. So you won't incur any higher exam fees. So if you do your pre-screen, let's say in first registration, but you don't complete the full application, whereas just paying the balance until the third deadline, you still are going to get that full first deadline fee. So that it's when you originally did your pre-screen. So NCHEC has made an exception for full-time students to sit for the CHES before graduation if the student intends to graduate within 90 days of the exam. Students must fulfill the requirement of completing his or her degree within those 90 days and submit a final transcript or a diploma to NCHEC to reach active certification, as well as submitting an advisor letter and validating full-time status. So for the application process, you will first create your online account to then initiate a new application or a pre-screen. You would enter your first and last name on the application, exactly how it is on your ID, and that is a requirement for testing. So your ID is going to have to match what's on your application to get into a test site or when you get into your appointment. It is your responsibility to notify NCHEC of any changes in name or address before taking the exam. Official transcripts reflecting the school name, degree, and dates awarded and all completed courses. The application cannot be processed without a transcript. If you send it separately, transcript should be submitted no later than the final registration deadline, or your application could be complete and possibly having increased exam fees for the next cycle. An advisor letter would be required for all full-time students, also for all students. So if your degree is in progress, we would require the advisor letter. And then the letter would need to be on school letterhead, contain your name, projected graduation date, degree program, and that you are a full-time or part-time student. And then all documents must be uploaded before the eligibility review can take place. So exam registration opens May and November of every year. Registering during the early bird period receives a $50 discount. Students also will have a lower discount than the non-student fee for all three deadlines. And again, we would need documentation of the full-time status in order to receive that student fee. The final exam registration period closes on February 28th or 29th and August 31st of each year. This schedule is also available on our website under the exam schedule for CHES and NCHES respectively. Applicants who have been determined eligible for the CHES exam will receive an authorization to test email. This notification will be sent to your registered email address that we have on file, and it's necessary to schedule your exam. Remember that application reviews can take up to 3 or 4 weeks during very busy times. Ineligible applicants, again, will be notified by email of your deficiencies. And if you do a full application, without the pre-screen, you just do the full application and you're found ineligible, you will be refunded minus $100 processing fee. So I normally suggest if you're in the slightest bit unsure, you think you have the credits, but you're not positive, it's so much safer just to do the pre-screen fee, because again, that $25 is going to go directly towards your full registration. You can reapply for the exam in the future should you complete any coursework necessary for eligibility, and you also do have the right to appeal your denial for eligibility. So we do have an appeal policy. So the next steps would be to schedule your exam appointment after everything's been cleared, and that would be with our testing vendor PSI. Candidates are able to schedule with the link within the authorization to test email, or you can also go directly through your NCHEC online portal, and there's a link right within your account. NCHEC's website also has some videos detailing what you can expect on testing day, whether you choose to go to a PSI test center or test at home via live remote proctoring. Once you're logged in, there will be a green button on the left-hand side of your dashboard to schedule, cancel, or reschedule, and applicants are strongly encouraged to schedule an exam appointment right away to obtain a preferred test date, time, and location. Do not wait until the exam testing window opens to schedule a time slot, as appointments are scheduled on a first-come, first-served basis. Should a candidate be unable to schedule an exam appointment within the testing window, the fees will not be refunded or transferred. The Helen P. Cleary Scholarship was established to honor Dr. Helen P. Cleary, who was instrumental in establishing the first CHES credential in 1991. The scholarship is only for the CHES exam, and eligibility criteria must be met, and the scholarship covers the cost of the exam fees and study materials. The registration schedule for upcoming scholarship opportunities is posted on our website. So it's actually open this week. I think the deadline is Friday. So just so you guys are aware, there is more information about the scholarship on our website. It's through Sophie. It'll take you to a link directly through Sophie. And again, I believe the application is just till the end of this week. The CHES and MCHES exam candidates utilize professional, secure, technology-enabled global PSI test centers, which include such benefits as immediate pass-fail scoring, an expanded range of testing dates and locations, and 24-hour online scheduling through the NCHEC candidate portal. Also, 10-day testing window to fit your schedule. CHES exam candidates, also MCHES exam candidates, will now receive instant preliminary pass-fail results after the completion of the exam, and your exam can be rescheduled also if necessary within a 48-hour window. Applicants choosing a test center can search online at our website. There is a section on testing to discover what test centers are nearest to them through an easy zip code search tool. And we also do have international testing. So next here, we're going to provide a video that shows the exam candidate, an overview of the test center experience. And again, more information is on our website.
Welcome to this short video on our test center experience. PSI is committed to helping you reach your full potential. Our PSI Test Center network spans over 120 countries, giving you flexible times, convenient locations, and comfortable testing. Experience tells us that preparation is key, so we want to ensure you have all the information you need before taking your test in one of our test centers. Before test day, make sure you have the right official photo identification and proof of signature documents. You'll need to take them with you on test day. If you are unsure what you need, check your test rules for guidance. You may also want to check what items are allowed during your test. For example, a calculator, paper, or reference materials. Review the information given by your test sponsor regarding allowed items. On test day, before you leave home, check you have your ID documents and authorized materials with you. To ensure a smooth check-in experience, give yourself enough time to get to the test center at least 30 minutes before your test. Once you arrive, you'll be greeted by a test center administrator. Please have your documents ready to start your check-in process to the test center. The test center administrator may take your photo or digital fingerprint during the check-in process. Test security and fairness are important to us as they help validate the result of the exam. That's why only approved items are permitted in the testing area. Personal items, food, and drinks are not allowed in the testing area. While we encourage you to leave these in your car or at home, we provide secure storage for your personal items if you need it. Before entering the testing area, the test center administrator will ask you to empty your pockets. They may also inspect additional items, such as glasses, jewelry, or bulky clothing. The test center administrator will then conduct a standard security scan with a metal detector wand. This is to ensure no unauthorized items are admitted into the testing room. When the check-in process is complete, the test center administrator will show you to your personal testing station. Before you start your test, you'll review a security statement and have the opportunity to familiarize yourself with our user-friendly testing software. Don't worry, even if you're a first-time test taker, PSI software is designed to ensure a seamless experience. During your test, our test center administrators will observe via video monitoring or physical walkthrough of testing room to make sure the appropriate testing conditions are maintained. An on-screen clock will let you know the remaining time for your test. If you require assistance or need to take a break, simply exit the testing room quietly and alert the test center administrator. Extra time for unscheduled breaks is not allowed on most tests, so remember, the clock will be counting down while you are on a break. When you get back, the test center administrator will need to conduct the same check-in process as before to allow you access to the testing area again. Once you've completed your test, carefully review your answers. When you're confident, click the End Test button. Then exit the testing area quietly to complete the checkout process with the test center administrator. Depending on the test you're taking and your test sponsor preferences, you may get your score immediately, or you may receive information about how to get your score. If you have any questions or concerns, please visit our website or contact our 24/7 customer service team through phone, email, or online chat. We are here to see you succeed. We hope to see you soon in one of our test centers.
Okay, so NCHEC continues to offer live remote proctoring as a test modality through PSI's online remote assessment platform, also known as PSI Bridge. This is an option given to candidates for 24/7 access, allowing them to test from home with an internet-enabled location where they must provide a computer with a camera, microphone, and internet connection. It's an easy-to-use platform and allows the same standard security procedures as implemented in PSI's global test center network. PSI Bridge is both Windows and Mac compatible. Candidates must use the Google Chrome browser and perform the system's readiness check before registering for an LRP appointment. One thing to note that is certain software and devices are not PSI Bridge supported. Please make sure you do a systems check before scheduling an LRP by going to the link provided, and we'll throw that in the chat. We're also going to show you a brief video here on live remote proctoring.
Welcome to our short test taker experience video, designed to help you take your test with confidence and ease. At PSI, we have years of testing experience, and we've developed secure online proctoring to ensure your test is as fair and stress-free as possible. Whether you are taking your test in a live online proctoring format with our online proctoring team monitoring the video connection in real time, or in a record and review format, where our proctoring team will view the recording after you have taken your test. You can be sure that we are dedicated to providing you with the most secure and easy testing experience, so you can focus on what matters most, pursuing your dreams. Before test day, there are some things you need to prepare to ensure your testing experience goes smoothly. Choose somewhere quiet and private where you won't be disturbed. The area should be well lit and clutter-free. You'll need a desktop or laptop computer with a webcam and microphone. Please check the PSI website for complete hardware and software requirements. Use the system compatibility check on our website to make sure your computer is suitable. The system compatibility check link is publicly available. According to your test sponsor's configurations, you could also have the opportunity to run through the tutorial test, a testing simulation that will allow you to become familiar with the check-in steps, security protocols, and the testing environment before test day. On test day, when you are ready to start your test, please go to your test registration platform and refer to the documentation there to log in. You should receive login details when you book your test. You'll be asked to complete these simple steps as part of your check-in process. Test your microphone and webcam. We will check to ensure no prohibited programs are running. Take a photo of yourself and a valid ID to verify your identity. Your photo ID must be government issued and must have a photo. Military IDs are not accepted, and school IDs are generally not recommended. When capturing identification materials, you may be able to link your mobile device to your testing session through a QR code, making it easier to capture your identification card. You will be asked to wait for a few minutes while a check-in specialist validates your photos and identity. When checks are complete, you'll be guided through the admissions process according to the rules of your exam. This may include a room scan with your webcam to ensure your testing area is appropriate. Additional room and accessory scans may be needed. When the admissions process is complete, you'll be connected to an online proctor. You should carefully examine the rules of approved artifacts for your exams, as food, drinks, pens, paper, or mobile devices might not be permitted during your test. During your test, our online proctoring team will monitor your session through screen share, webcam, and microphone. This is to ensure your test is fair and going smoothly while protecting your privacy. At the end of your test, the system may indicate if there are any unanswered questions that need reviewing in your test. Then you'll be asked to confirm you're ready to end the testing session. Depending on the test you're taking, you may get your score immediately, or you may receive information about how to get your score. If you have any questions or concerns, please visit our website or contact our 24/7 customer service team through phone, email, or online chat. We're here to help you succeed.
So the CHES examination is competency-based, which means that the exam is the exam is based on the framework document, which identifies the 8 areas of responsibility. Within each area of responsibility, the basic competencies and sub-competencies are necessary for health education specialists that have been delineated. These delineations serve as a basis for developing the questions on the exam. The CHES exam is a 3-hour timed exam offered live remote proctoring or computer-based at a test center. It consists of 165 multiple questions 150 are scored, 15 are pilot tested, and they measure the possession, application, interpretation of knowledge essential to the practice of health education. The exam content is in 3 blocks, and we'll cover that in the next few slides. So the study guide that is used for the CHES exam is the 8th edition companion guide, which is useful but optional. It's used by candidates for study and preparation for the CHES exam. The companion guide is only available on the NCHEC website. So the CHES exam is based on a national in-depth job analysis study to identify what skills and tasks are being utilized by the health education specialist practicing across the United States. So this table outlines the areas of responsibility on the exam and the percent of each exam question that comes from each area. The content will change again based on the results of the HESPA 3 practice analysis study that is taking place right now.
Yeah, I think that's scheduled. The exams will change in 2027. Is that correct,
Yes.
Tanya? So if you take it now, yep, okay.
They will be updated, yep.
Okay.
And then this next slide here is the MCHES exam content, which outlines the areas of responsibility and percentages for that MCHES certification. So to ensure fairness across CBT and LRP, the CHES and MCHES exams will be administered using a set of standardized security protocols in alignment with standards recommended by our accreditation body, NCCA. The security policy will affect the examination format and the break policy. So the CHES exam is currently offered in 3 blocks. Block 1, which contains questions 1 to 83. Block 2, which is the 10-minute break, which is optional. And then block 3 is questions 84 to 165. So candidates will be given an opportunity to take that optional 10-minute break midway through the exam between block 1 and 3. If the break is taken, it will require an additional security screening before proceeding to complete the 3rd block of the exam. The 10-minute break is also deducted from the total test time. Following the break, CHES and MCHES candidates will gain access to that 3rd block, but will not be able to go back and access that 1st block of exam questions. So you're going to do questions 1 through 83. If you want to check any of those questions, that would be the time. Then you're going to go to block 2, which is the optional break, which again, you do not have to take. And then you will be moved on to block 3, which is the remainder of the questions.
Okay, I'm going to hop back in here for a moment to talk a little bit about the requirements once you become certified. So you pass the exam, you've got your credential, what's next? So keep in mind that you do need to maintain your credential. There is a $70 renewal fee annually to maintain the credential. And what also is really important to remember is that you need to start your continuing education requirement, and that is 75 hours of continuing education within every 5-year period. So if you obtain those 75 credits, then you recertify at the end of your 5th year of holding the certification. There's one other thing you need to complete a measurement of what's called continuing competency. Most often, this is a performance assessment. It's very simple, easy to fill out, but that helps check that box. And then certain providers of continuing education also offer continuing competency credits. All these types of credits are searchable on our website. We have a search tool with thousands of different listings and types of continuing education trainings and self-studies and conferences and things like that. So let's talk a little more about this continuing education. Like I said, there's a lot of opportunities to earn them. But keep in mind, there are two major categories of continuing education. So you'll hear the term Category 1. These are events or offerings by NCHEC pre-approved designated providers. And these are the opportunities that I mentioned are available using the search tool on our website. And these credits are reported to NCHEC on a quarterly basis. So if you sign up for a Category 1 continuing education opportunity, it automatically gets sent to us. You don't have to do anything other than register, attend, and usually take an evaluation at the end. Category 2 continuing education credits are those that haven't been pre-approved by NCHEC, but still align with at least one area, 8 of the 8 areas of responsibility. These types of credits, for instance, might be presenting at a conference, undergoing a training through your work, things like that. And they will need to be self-reported through your portal. But once you become certified, you'll get a lot more information on this topic and how to do these things that I'm talking about. But I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up that there is continuing education. There's several different types. And then again, I also mentioned that continuing competency requirement. That's 5 credits. It's part of your 75, so it's not additional credits. And there is a whole manual that you will receive that once you certify that helps go through this and explain it. CHES and MCHES have slightly different continuing education requirements, and the differences are outlined in our renewal and recertification page on the website. Once you become certified, just talk briefly about one benefit that's available to you. We have this online community called NCHEC Online, and it connects all certified individuals, both CHES and MCHES, that are practicing in health education, health promotion, gives you access to all sorts of resources, kind of real-time discussions, jobs, professional development opportunities, features and highlights of different certified individuals. You also get access to the reimbursement and credentialing toolkit developed for use by CHES and MCHES, and this can all be accessed through your portal once you do receive your certification. I wanted to mention, because I know we threw a lot of information at you, here today. This is being recorded. It will be emailed to you. It will also be on our YouTube channel. But a lot of the things we talked about here today are available on our website. It's called the CHES Exam Toolkit. It's all the resources that we have about the exam. I put a QR code on there too. So it has the current exam schedule, study resources, information about live remote proctoring, test centers, that sort of thing. Information about this Cleary Scholarship. There's videos. So please, if you get a moment, if you feel like it's a lot of information, it's very clearly outlined on that page for you. Also wanted to mention that we do have a career hub on the website as well that may be helpful to you as you kind of prepare to enter into the health education field. If you're graduating soon, or if you're changing careers, if you've been in the field, we have a job posting board that lists job opportunities from employers that specifically know about the value of certification, and they prefer or even require it in their candidates. So we also have tips on how to market yourself in an interview, sample job titles, because there's so many different roles that CHES and MCHES can kind of operate in across the country in a whole host of job settings. So your job title may not be health education specialist or health educator. It may be something very different. So that gives you some resources there to help you in your career search. Also wanted to mention, if you're on any of the socials, feel free to follow us. I do post a lot of job opportunities, continuing education opportunities that are free or contain multiple credits, some of the features and interviews that I've talked about, information on deadlines. So definitely give us a follow there if you get a chance. And that kind of brings us to the Q&A. I'm gonna put our email addresses in the chat for you, but they're there as well. So if we don't get to all the questions that are coming in today, please don't hesitate to email us. We can get back to you. Let's see. Um, Tanya, let's start with this question that we received from Jocelyn, wanting to know what the turnaround time was for the processing of pre-screens and then also the processing of regular applications.
So the processing for pre-screens is usually 2 to 3 weeks. Full applications can sometimes be the same amount. The full applications may take a little bit longer. It just depends on the workload. So I try to balance them both. But normally, you know, the pre-screens should not take more than 2 weeks.
Awesome. Another simple question here about where do we send official transcripts? Specifically, this person had some issues with uploading it. What would be an option there if they can't do it in the online application?
So any and all documentation can be emailed to myself at this email that's shown on the screen here, the Cole at NCHEC. Once you register for the exam and you get some email correspondence, it will most likely be my email anyway. If you ever have any issues uploading any documentation, please feel free to just send them to me, and I can attach them to your application.
Here's one from Deandra. Is there a timing window on when coursework has to be completed to sit for the exam? For example, I graduated with my bachelor's in 2016. Would those courses still allow me to be eligible or considered for eligibility?
Absolutely. There is absolutely no timing for when you have completed your degree. Your degree could, be from a long time ago. There is absolutely no timing for when the degree or the courses have been taken.
And there was another kind of follow-up question to our transcript question. Are we able to send our transcripts now for the applications that open on May 1st?
No, not at this point. So the only time the applications can be reviewed or documentation should be sent in is through the registration period when it's open. So it's right now we actually are testing. We're currently in a testing window. Individuals are testing. So we're not reviewing or looking at any applications at this time. So it does open May 1st. You can create your online account at any time, and then all the links for the applications will be available by May 1st.
Okay. And I have a question here from Karen. She has a lot of work experience, so she wanted to know, even though she did have a couple health education courses, does the pre-screen process take into account work-related training?
So the exam is solely based on academic preparation. So we do not use work experience for eligibility, as that's an eligibility requirement for the NCHES exam for individuals already working in the field. But for the CHES exam specifically, it's based solely on academic preparation. So we would only review transcripts for the CHES.
How quickly do we receive results after taking the exam?
So exam results are usually distributed within 6 to 8 weeks. It may be a little shorter than that, but we do say about 6 weeks. But you will get a preliminary pass-fail right away. So you will get a preliminary, so for both the CHES and the MCHES exam, after you take the exam, you will get a preliminary pass or did not pass, I think on your screen, and you're also going to get an email. And then your final and hard copy results will come later.
Awesome. Can we take the exam on a laptop, or does it have to be a computer with a separate CPU?
You can take your exam on a laptop or a desktop, a regular CPU or your laptop. You just cannot have double screens. So you can only use the screen or the monitor, one screen or one monitor. So you just do your laptop specifically or just your CPU. You cannot use phones or tablets or anything like that. It has to be a laptop or a desktop CPU.
And I see a question about continuing education, so I'm gonna hop in and answer that. The question is, just to clarify, the continuing education is 75 to be completed in a 5-year window, or does that mean 75 per year? It is definitely the 5-year window. So you have a full 5 years to complete 75 credits, at which point you recertify. And that does not mean you have to retake the exam. Somebody else asked me that too. So recertification just automatically happens if you've completed your 75 in that 5-year window, and you do not have to retest. The only case that you would have to retest is if you don't get those credits and you've kind of maxed out your resources and potential extensions of your certification. And if you lose your certification, or what we call lapse, then you would have to retest. But if you do your if you do your CE, recertifications should be smooth. Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm scanning through here, Tanya.
I can go through the questions here. It's okay. If you want me
Yeah.
to just answer some here quick.
Yeah, if you see any that pop out to you, there's a lot coming in, so.
I'm going to answer this question here quick about the scholarship. If I take the
Yep.
test in October, do I no longer qualify for the scholarship? If I graduate in May, October is outside of the 90-day qualification. So the scholarship is open now, like I said, till the end of the week. I would do the application this week. You, yes, definitely can qualify for this scholarship because you technically are still a full-time student until you graduate. So I would definitely fill out the application for the scholarship and submit it through Sophie. Because yes, they, as long as you're full-time now, they should accept your application.
Yeah, this is actually the perfect time for this individual to apply for the scholarship. So yeah, there's a few documents you'll have to do, but it should be doable within a day or two. Okay.
Okay.
If I graduate in October, would I still be eligible, I assume, to take the exam?
Yep.
Yep.
So yes, as long as you graduate within 90 days of the exam. So your eligibility again is determined on the coursework you have taken. But yes, you would be able to use the full-time student fee. Registration is open May, June, July, and August. So you would be able to register at that time. And as long as you graduate within 90 days of the actual exam, which would be in October, you can still use that student fee.
Okay, I see there was a question about the exam study material because this individual logged onto the bookstore on our site and sees that there's two publications. So which is recommended to use to study for the exam? I know that was a slide earlier, but
Yeah, so we use, so on our website, we have the 8th edition companion guide, which is the actual study book, which also includes 165 practice test questions in the back of the book. The framework is used, which is the second publication, is used for universities to align their curriculum with the health education competencies. So the 8th edition companion guide is what we consider our study book, but you would also have to use your own other outside resources. Everything that's covered on the exam is not covered within the study guide.
here's one. Are we allowed to take the test again if we do not pass?
You are allowed to take the test again at the next cycle, so you cannot retest within the same exam cycle. So say you took the exam in October and you did not pass it, you're able to take it at the April 2026 exam for a reduced $150 fee.
Um, Here's a good one. If a student has completed a BS in health promotion, but is currently enrolled full-time as in an MPH, would they still qualify for the student discount?
Yep, you definitely could still use the student fee. It doesn't have to be with the program that you're using for eligibility. So again, if you have a completed bachelor's degree or undergraduate degree and you're in a graduate program full-time, you can definitely still use the student fee. We just would need the documentation that you're full-time. I would take either an official transcript showing all your in-progress courses or that advisor letter stating that you're a full-time student. I'm gonna just answer this one here. What is the eligibility for MCHES? So the MCHES exam is an advanced level certification for individuals already working in the profession. So for eligibility for the MCHES, you would need a minimum of a completed master's degree or above. So your degree would need to be fully completed. Again, it has to be at a master's level or above. And then you would also in health education. So you would need those 25 credits of coursework in health education at the master's level or above. Plus, you would also need 5 years of documented work experience in health education. So for the MCHES, we require an official transcript, 2 verification forms, which would be from like a current or past employer attesting that they've seen you participate in health education in your career. And then we would also require a CV resume for your application.
Is there a limit on how many times you can retest for the CHES exam?
There is no limit, but like I said, you still just can't test within the same cycle. So if you fail one cycle, then you could take it at the next cycle for a reduced fee. If you would fail for that cycle, you would be able to still take it at the next cycle for a reduced fee. We do not have a time limit on when you can, how many times you can take the exam.
There's some questions about studying. One is studying from the book sufficient, or do I need to study from other sources as well?
You will need to use outside resources. I think there is a suggested reading list or references on our website in the bookstore section, but again, everything that's in the study guide is not covered on the exam. And I believe in the study guide, it also tells you that you would need to use some other outside resources. A lot of students use publications from their university studies, any books that they were
Yeah.
that were used during class and things like that.
Yeah, use your textbooks.
Textbooks, yeah.
Absolutely. The foundational ones, yeah, for sure. And then as far as they're asking if about exam prep courses, if there's any available online. I mean, that really varies. You're going to have to do some digging in Google searching. Certain universities will do CHES exam prep courses, sometimes for their students, but I have seen ones that kind of open registration and don't charge, but you have to kind of look around for those. The other one I know about is SOPHE, the Society for Public Health Education, has a CHES exam prep course. There is a fee with that, but I don't think it's anything crazy. But you could go to that SOPHE website, sophe.org, SOPHE.org, and look around for that prep course as well. Sometimes people form online study groups, kind of ad hoc for, exchanging flashcards and Quizlets and things like that. I think that's a good thing to get a study buddy. If you can find someone who's going to be testing in the same cycle as you. But we can't offer a study prep course for our own exam, so that kind of has to be done outside by another organization or academic institution. Okay. Um, when I don't understand a couple of these. Okay, my last day of my bachelor's is May 6th. if I plan on signing up in May, would it still be a student fee or no student?
As long as you register before you graduate, I will still acknowledge the student fee. So,
Yeah, so May
your best
1st, get in there.
bet
Yeah.
your best bet would be to register next week
Yeah,
when the registration opens. And as long as you pay and register before you graduate, I will acknowledge that student fee.
awesome. Do you see any others, Tanya, that you wanna?
I just saw one here. I graduated with my master's in public health in 2023. Would I not be eligible?
Not
It
sure what
doesn't
they're
matter when
asking.
huh?
Yeah,
It
I'm
doesn't
not sure
matter
if
when
they're,
you graduate. Yeah, so eligibility, it doesn't matter when you graduate with your degrees, you can still register for eligibility of the exam. We would review your transcripts and determine eligibility with the coursework that you have on your transcripts. Again, the degree date when you received your degree has no effect on eligibility. It's the coursework. When you evaluate, do you evaluate for CHES and NCHES? We do not. We evaluate for either one or the other. We have two totally separate applications because they are two completely separate eligibility requirements. But sometimes if you do the NCHES, if for some reason you're academically eligible but not professional, you don't have the 5 years of work experience, we usually do suggest or ask if you would like to switch over to the CHES exam. And again, registration will open May 1st. So the pre-screen service and the full application will be available on our website on May 1st to, again, register or do that pre-screen for the October exam. So nothing is available right now, but if you would like to check your eligibility and things like that, that will open May 1st.
you want to take one more and then we'll wrap up?
Sure. If your bachelor's is in something related to public health, but not public health or health education degree. So in order to be eligible, you would have to have 25 credits specific to health education. So those are the academic requirements. If you do not have those credits after we review, in order to be eligible, you would have to take those credits at an undergraduate degree program or above. So you would have to have those, again, academic credits to be eligible. And if anybody has any questions or anything that we didn't answer, please feel free to email me anything.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, and thank you so much, Tanya, for joining us here today. Like Tanya said, send us an email if we didn't get to your question. We'll be happy to help you out. If you have any questions during the application process, we'll be happy to help you out. We hope you pulled something from this webinar that's useful. Also, visit that exam toolkit page. I think that'll help guide you along the process as well. Okay. Thanks, everybody.